What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to give you my top 3 wealth building strategies that you can do too. Let's dive in. All right, well, as always, welcome back to the channel. I'm so grateful for you. I'm genuinely grateful for your attention. It's one of your most valuable commodities, and you chose to spend it here, so thank you for that. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can check this out on our podcast called the Handmade Business Secrets Podcast. There's about 85 episodes over there that did not make it to YouTube. Also, if you've been a faithful subscriber, faithful watcher, viewer, and you haven't went and left a review for us over on our podcast, that'd be super helpful. You can just search Zach Vaught, and I'm sure you'll find me. So, my top 3 wealth building strategies that anybody can do. I did not have money when I started doing these things, okay? So before we dive into number 1, I want to just kind of lay out the foundation here of what you need to understand. You need to increase the gap between your earning and your living expenses. If you earn the same exact amount that you need to live off of, then there is no gap. So you're going to be in the exact same financial situation a year from now as you are today. Until you increase the gap between what you need to live off of and what you earn, you'll never have any excess to invest or save or pay off debt or anything like that. So we got to start figuring out a way to increase the gap between what we need to live off of and then what we can earn. What will you be able to do
today, Junior?
And what we can earn. So the very first wealth building strategy that I would give you, I think everybody should either have a side hustle or start a business. Now, you don't have to start a business because starting a business is a pretty big deal, right? You don't have anybody there to help you. You're kind of out there on an island by yourself unless you take on a partner to help you do it. But at least having some type of side hustle or some way to make some type of side income that you can start stashing away that income, that's the way that you start actually building wealth. Just a reminder here that wealth is not necessarily measured in money. Wealth, in my opinion, is actually more measured in time. What do we mean by that? So if, let's say, for example, that it costs me $5,000 a month to live off of, and I have $50,000 in savings or in investments that I could access if I needed to, then I would say I was 10 months wealthy. If I lost my job, if everything went south, we could survive off of our savings for 10 months. That's kind of the thought around wealth and your financial landscape. So what we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to increase this gap between what we make and what we need to live off of. So by starting a business, starting a side hustle, we're going to be starting to just stack cash and starting to prepare to make some investments. So here's the deal. I would not recommend investing until you have a little bit of money. And so I also wouldn't constantly invest every dollar that I have. So Grant Cardone, big internet personality, very wise business guy. He has a lot of principles I really love. One of the principles that he has that I do like in a way, but I also kind of disagree with, is the idea of staying broke. So what does that mean? So Grant Cardone, he's in his 60s today, but in his late 30s or 40s, he figured out how to increase his active income, which was he started being a consultant to companies in their sales departments, and he started making a lot of take-home pay. And so what he would do is he would stack cash and he would completely deplete it and put it into an investment. Part of me does like this idea, but I think this is a better move for somebody that's single, that doesn't have kids. I think if you have other people that you're responsible for, you should probably not completely deplete your savings to put it into investments down the road. But number 2, my second wealth building strategy, and this is exactly what I did, okay? So I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did. If you figure out the first one, if you start a business, start a side hustle, start stacking a little bit of cash, is you need to buy a house that you can fix up. Again, Grant Cardone is like, hey, buying a house is one of the worst investments that you could possibly make. Here's why I don't necessarily agree with that, because by buying a house that's run down that you can fix up, you can force appreciation in a home and make a lot of income really fast. Now, if you go and you buy a fully fixed up, fully turnkey furnished home that you overspent for, that's a bad decision because you can't force appreciation. But if you go buy something that stinks, that looks bad, that you can put some paint on, new flooring, new fixtures, new appliances, and make it look beautiful, you can force appreciation in that home, and you'll have unrealized equity sitting in that. And then when you turn around and sell that home, you'll be able to profit from that. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did, okay? Back in 2018, Iron by Iron Woodworks, which was my business, needed to move out of our really small location that we were in into a bigger location. Well, I had a couple options. Either number 1, I could try to go sign a commercial lease somewhere, which was gonna cost more than I could afford, or I could try to find a house somewhere that had a shop on the property. So we started looking for houses that had shops on the property, and we found this house. It was really outdated, but it was a big house and it had a 1,500 square foot shop. So we bought the house and we bought it undervalued, right? So we bought it for around $224,000 and it appraised at the moment that we bought it for $276,000. Just by signing a piece of paper, we made $50,000 in equity or income just by signing a piece of paper and buying it underpriced, okay? Then we spent the next 3 years of our lives. It took us 3 years because I was still working full-time job, had a business, and then I was remodeling this house. But then we spent the next 3 years fixing up, remodeling that house, and really increasing the value of the home. So we probably put an additional $30,000, maybe $40,000 into the home altogether over the next 3 years, right? Let's say we bought the home for $224. We put $30,000 into it. So we were all in this house for $254. Well, we turned around and sold the home for around $410,000 3 years later. We made over $160,000, $170,000 in net earnings on this house just simply by buying a rundown house and fixing it up. Now, we had a lump sum of $160,000, which, by the way, if you do this in a house that you're living in and you stay there for over 2 years before you sell it and you don't make any more than $500,000 on the property, it's not a taxable event. So I didn't have to pay any taxes on this $160-something thousand, $170,000 that we made from having fixed this house up. So what does that now allow me to do? Now it allows me to, which takes me to step number 3, put money into other things that make me money. So when you have no money, the only thing that can make you money is your hands, your time, is your energy. But when you start getting some money, then you can put money into things that make you money. Now it doesn't require energy or time or effort. It requires some. I'm not going to say it doesn't require any. It requires some, but your money, your investments are actually what's producing more money. So we went and we bought an Airbnb property that has 6 units on it. We're now going to be buying another Airbnb property, hopefully within the next couple of months, and maybe launching another project by the end of this year. I say all this to say that I didn't have any money when I started this. So I started with a business or a side hustle. Get that to where it's making a couple $1,000s, and the more the better, right? But it's spitting off a couple $1,000s above and beyond your living expenses every month that you can start stashing away and saving. Then I would recommend, if you don't already own a home, or if you own a home, go buy a fixer-upper that you can flip, that you can quickly turn a little bit of money into more money by just forcing appreciation, taking a rundown, nasty property and making it look beautiful. And then lastly, when you pull profits from those, put that money back into other things that make you money. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions about this, let me know. There's a couple really great books I would recommend if you haven't read yet to read. Number 1, which is kind of like the Godfather book of all things wealth creation, is Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you haven't read that book yet, I would highly recommend you go check that book out, because it's such an epiphany book that normal people like you, like me, can create wealth, and it's not something that is reserved only for a certain kind of person. You can do it too. If this has helped you, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, like this video. It helps us reach more people. And so with that being said, thank you, appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.